That's America. That isn't me. It is the huge tailwind the American economy gives to any equity investor.
Warren Buffett is the chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway and is arguably one of the most successful investors of our time, with proven track record worth over $100 billion. When it comes to investing and making a great amount of profit in that investment, I would say that we can all agree that listening to Warren Buffett's advice will be a safe bet. In this video, he talks about a simple strategy that could possibly make you huge returns on your money. Let's watch this short clip together, and I will show you how this example could turn a $1,000 investment into millions of dollars over a lifetime using the same strategy he talks about. I will also do a comparison with Bitcoin and how much return Bitcoin would have given you had you invested $1,000 in it a few years ago. Here's the short clip.
I want to ask a little bit about some of the new investing things going on in the markets. And Greg Wondra from Bakersfield wonders about target date funds. And I wanted to also ask about all the new index funds with a brain. Are those things really adding value?
No, probably not. The S&P 500 index fund is the one to use. That's the one I used in that bet I made for 10 years. It's the one I've told the trustee for my wife to put 90% of the funds I leave her into. The S&P 500 is, I don't know whether it's 80% of the market value of everything you can buy in this country, and it's over. I think it's over 20 trillion, and you're buying America. And let me give you a figure that'll blow your mind. I think I bought my first stock when I was 11 years old. It was the first quarter of 1942, shortly after Pearl Harbor. I spent $114.75. Three shares, $114.75. If I put that 114 into the S&P 500 at that time and reinvested the dividends, think of a figure as to what it would be worth today.
Oh man!
Well, it's
okay.
I just want your audience to think for a second.
Okay.
The answer is about $400,000.
Oh.
So if I, as a little kid, had taken that $114 I'd saved shoveling snow or whatever I'd done, $400,000 today, one person's lifetime. That's America. I mean, that isn't me. It is the huge tailwind the American economy gives to any equity investor. Now, the market's gone down many times during that time. People have panicked during that time. Headlines have been terrible. It looked like we were losing the war when we first bought it. But America is a powerful economic machine that since 1776 has worked, and it's going to keep working. Now, you don't want to buy to hold for a year. You don't want to buy with the idea that you could sell it in 2 years or 3 years, necessarily make money. You could lose money that way. But if you buy it for 10, 20, just keep buying the S&P 500 index and forget about all the other nonsense that's being sold to you, because I'll guarantee you one thing about the stuff being sold to you: it will carry bigger fees than what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to think that we don't know if it's 400,000, but that same sort of process or returns won't happen starting right now.
The S&P 500 companies have earned well over 10% on equity, often 15% annually for years and years and years and years. They've done it with Democratic administrations, with Republican administrations. Now, you get money compounding at that kind of rate underlying your investment, and you get a diversified group of that. I mean, you're going to do well.
Warren Buffett's example used $114 as the investment amount. I'm going to factor in inflation to come up with a more realistic number that applies to today's costs. So the same dog will cost on average about $1,000 today. You could buy a puppy today for $300 or $400, and then there are puppies that will cost you as much as $4,000 or $5,000 or more. But for the sake of today's example, let's just say $1,000. If you were to invest $1,000 in the S&P today, using the same rate of return, by my simple math over a same period of a lifetime that Warren Buffett talked about, your money would turn into a staggering $3,508,771.93. And let's just say over a course of 60 years. Imagine what you can do with $3.5 million. Here is a chart of S&P over the course of 90-year period. While the S&P is fairly safe as per Warren Buffett, remember that the key is to buy some shares every time you have some money to put aside, and keep the shares for long term. Markets will fluctuate and go up and down. But if you look at this chart on the S&P, for the last 90 years it has consistently gone up at an overall steady pace. Of course, there were times that it fell 20 to 30%, but it managed to go higher and higher over time, and the one key to success in this example is to never panic sell and keep it for the long term. Now, although odds are favorable, there is no guarantee that the next 90 years the S&P will perform the same way it has in the last 90 years. So always do your homework before making any investments. And while this is not an investment advice, it is a great example that could potentially make you great returns. And who knows, maybe during the next 90 years, Bitcoin could become the best performing asset. Just a quick look at Bitcoin's chart and you will see that it has had an amazing return over the last 12 years. In January of 2010, the price of one Bitcoin was $0.001 US. That's a tenth of a penny. And today, at the time of recording this video, it is trading at $21,400 per Bitcoin. For the sake of this example, to come up with round numbers, we'll just say $21,000. If you had invested $1,000 in Bitcoin back in January of 2010, your investment would have been worth $21 billion. To put that into perspective, that is 1/5 of Warren Buffett's net worth. And you would have achieved that by simply investing $1,000 in Bitcoin 12 years ago. Now imagine what you could do with $21 billion. Now I know that sounds amazing and tempting, but remember, Bitcoin is a highly volatile asset, and comparing Bitcoin to S&P is like comparing apples to oranges. So it may be a good idea to diversify and not put all your eggs in one basket. Maybe consider investing in the S&P, Bitcoin, and a couple of other investment types. One question you may have is, when should you invest in Bitcoin or the S&P? And the answer is when it's on sale and the prices have gone down by a whole lot, kind of like right now. But can Bitcoin and stocks go lower from here? I would say yes. I think we will have a very rough winter ahead of us. And while no one will know where the bottom is, if you do your homework and keep up with the market, you will have an idea of where about the bottom may be. So you can start to dollar cost average. Meaning, instead of trying to guess where the bottom is and put all your money in that asset at once, you can buy in small increments every now and then. So whenever it bottoms out, your average cost will look great because you bought small increments as prices fluctuated and finally found a bottom. But in order to do this correctly, you have to remember timing is everything. You need to do your homework so you have a good idea of when to enter the market. Also remember to subscribe to my channel, because if you go back and watch the last few videos, I correctly predicted the last couple of price rallies and drops for Bitcoin. And maybe in the future, as it gets closer to a bottom, we can navigate the rough market conditions together. Until next time, my friends, stay safe and enjoy every moment.